Imagine being 8 months pregnant, your heart full of love and hope for the life growing inside you, only to discover that the man you trust most in the world is betraying you. What if the only proof you had was a hidden camera that saw everything your eyes weren't supposed to see? Would you confront him right away, or would you wait, carrying that secret like a ticking bomb inside your chest? My name is Elena, and if someone had told me years ago that my marriage would end in betrayal, I would have laughed in their face. Daniel was everything I thought I wanted in a man: charming, ambitious, protective, and at times, disarmingly gentle. When we met, I was fresh out of university, unsure of myself, my career, or what the future held. He swept me up like a whirlwind, the kind of man who made you believe in destiny. He didn't just fall in love with me, he convinced me that I was the missing piece in his life. We married quickly, in less than a year, and I thought that was the happiest day of my life. Looking back, I realize now that I was blinded by the illusion of forever. Because when someone betrays you, it's not just the present moment that hurts, it's every memory you thought was safe, every promise you thought was unbreakable. For years, Daniel and I tried to have children. Those were some of the hardest years of my life, months of tears when the tests came back negative, doctor visits that left me hopeful one moment and crushed the next. Daniel used to hold me after each failed attempt and whisper, "It'll happen, Elena. I promise you, it'll happen for us." And I believed him, because his arms were my shelter, and I thought his love was unshakable. When I finally became pregnant, it felt like the universe had finally listened to my prayers. I cried when I saw the little plus sign on the stick. I ran to Daniel, holding it in my trembling hands, and I'll never forget his reaction. He smiled, kissed me, lifted me off my feet like we were in some romantic movie. He told me he had never been happier. But even in that moment of joy, I noticed something in his eyes, a flicker, a hesitation so small that I dismissed it. I told myself I was imagining things. Pregnancy was not easy on me. The exhaustion, the mood swings, the swelling, it all hit me harder than I expected. But I kept telling myself it would be worth it, that soon we'd have a baby girl or boy, a family complete. Daniel seemed distant at times, but I thought it was just the stress of his job. He was a manager at a successful firm, always juggling meetings, clients, and deadlines. When he started coming home late more often, I blamed work. When he kept his phone close, even taking it to the bathroom, I told myself that important clients might call at any moment. But you can only silence your instincts for so long. A woman's heart, especially one carrying life inside her, develops an intuition sharper than a knife. I started noticing patterns. His late nights always fell on certain days, his excuses felt rehearsed, and when I looked into his eyes, I saw distance where once there had been warmth. That's when I decided to do something I never imagined I would. I bought a small security camera disguised as a digital photo frame. I set it up in the living room, telling myself it was just for peace of mind, that I was being paranoid. I even felt guilty, like I was betraying him by not trusting his words. But a voice inside me wouldn't stop whispering, "Something is wrong, Elena. Find out." And then came the night that shattered everything. It was a Thursday. My belly felt heavy, my daughter kicking inside me with restless energy. I couldn't sleep, so I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the silence of the house. Around midnight, I heard the door open. Daniel walked in, whispering into his phone, laughing softly. I turned my head just enough to see his shadow in the hallway. He didn't know I was awake. He didn't know I was listening. I heard a woman's voice on the other end, light, playful, almost flirtatious. My heart sank, but I said nothing. I closed my eyes and pretended to sleep when he came into the room, kissed my forehead, and slipped under the covers. The next morning, I couldn't shake the feeling. My body was trembling as I made my way to the living room, picked up the hidden camera, and played back the recording. My breath caught in my throat. There he was, my husband, the man I had built my life around. Sitting on our couch, his suit jacket discarded, his tie loosened. And with him was Clara, his secretary, a woman I had seen dozens of times at company events, always polite, always professional. But there was nothing professional about the way she leaned into him. Nothing professional about the way he tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, his hand lingering too long. Nothing professional about the kiss that followed, a kiss that was deep, lingering, and unapologetic. I watched, frozen, my world collapsing around me. My chest ached, my vision blurred, and I pressed a hand to my belly as if to shield my unborn child from the pain. The baby kicked violently, as if she could feel every ounce of betrayal pulsing through me. I wanted to scream, to smash the screen, to rip the memory out of existence. But instead, I just sat there, numb, tears streaming silently down my face. That day, I didn't confront Daniel. I couldn't. I didn't have the strength to face him with the evidence still burning in my hands. Instead, I acted. I smiled when he walked into the room. I asked him about his meetings. I even kissed him goodnight as though nothing had changed. But inside, everything had changed. That night, lying beside him, I stared at the ceiling, listening to his steady breathing. I realized I had a choice. I could confront him right away, unleash all the anger and heartbreak boiling inside me. Or, I could wait. I could hold on to the evidence, bide my time, and let him dig his own grave. The thought of waiting gave me power. It was the first time in weeks that I didn't feel like a helpless wife or a naive woman. The camera had given me something Daniel couldn't take away, proof. Proof that I wasn't paranoid, proof that I wasn't imagining things. Proof that the man I loved had betrayed me. But what hurt the most wasn't the kiss itself. It was the realization that while I was carrying his child, sacrificing my body, my sleep, my peace, to bring life into the world, he was seeking comfort in someone else's arms. I had endured morning sickness, swollen feet, nights of tossing and turning, the endless fear that something might go wrong, and he had chosen betrayal. I lay awake for hours, my hand on my belly, whispering to my unborn daughter. "Don't worry, little one. Mommy will protect you. Mommy will make sure you grow up strong, surrounded by love. Even if it's just us against the world." For the first time, I didn't feel completely broken. Beneath the pain, a seed of strength began to grow. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. But I also knew I wasn't powerless. Daniel thought he was in control, thought I was clueless, thought he could juggle his double life without consequence. But he didn't know. He didn't know the camera had recorded everything. He didn't know I had already seen the truth. And as I drifted into a restless sleep that night, one thought kept echoing in my mind like a promise: the day will come when he realizes what he has done. And when that day comes, he'll understand that betraying me was the worst mistake of his life. They say silence is a weapon. Imagine knowing your husband has betrayed you, but instead of confronting him immediately, you decide to wait, to plan, to let him believe you're blind, until the perfect moment comes. What would you do if the evidence was already in your hands, and all you had to decide was when to destroy the life of the man who destroyed yours? From the moment I discovered the video, every second in that house became a performance. I wasn't just Elena, the devoted wife. I became an actress, one with a script only I knew. My lines were gentle smiles, casual questions, and soft touches on Daniel's arm as if nothing had changed. Inside, though, I was burning. Every time he kissed my forehead, every time he whispered, "I love you," before bed, I wanted to scream the truth in his face. But I didn't. I waited, because patience, I realized, could be more powerful than anger. Daniel, of course, believed he had me right where he wanted. He walked around with the arrogance of a man convinced his lies would never surface. Sometimes, I caught him texting Clara at the dinner table, his fingers moving quickly, his phone angled away from me. Once, I even heard him laugh under his breath while typing, and my stomach twisted in rage. Still, I stayed quiet. Each moment like that only added fuel to the fire inside me. I had one goal: to choose the moment that would hurt him most. And that moment came faster than I expected. It was my baby shower. Friends, family, and even some of Daniel's colleagues filled our home with laughter and celebration. The rooms glowed with pastel decorations, balloons, and gifts stacked high with ribbons. Everyone congratulated us as though we were the perfect couple, the perfect parents to be. I smiled, accepted hugs, posed for pictures. And all the while, Daniel held my hand like a proud husband, kissed my cheek for show, and charmed every guest with his practiced charisma. If they only knew. If they could only see what my camera had captured. The irony of it all nearly made me choke on my own smile. Here I was, 8 months pregnant, standing next to a man who was living a double life. He gave a toast, raising his glass with a flourish, thanking everyone for being there, and declaring how excited he was to become a father. The room erupted in cheers. I clapped, too, because what else could I do? But inside, I was counting down the minutes until I could rip away his mask. That night, after the guests left and the house was quiet, I decided it was time. I couldn't keep playing this role forever. The longer I held the secret, the heavier it became, and my body was already carrying enough weight. My baby girl deserved peace. And I deserved truth. Daniel, I said softly, standing in the living room, my hands trembling as I held the remote. I need to talk to you. He looked at me, surprised, still in his crisp shirt from the party. Now, Elena, it's late. Can't it wait until tomorrow? No, I said firmly. It can't wait. Something in my tone must have unnerved him, because he set down his glass and sat on the couch. His eyes searched mine, maybe for the first time in months. What's wrong? I didn't answer. Instead, I pressed play. The screen lit up, and the room filled with the sound of his laughter, the same laughter I had heard that night. There he was, sitting on our couch, Clara leaning into him, their lips meeting in that kiss that had shattered me. The silence between us was deafening, broken only by the sound of his betrayal replaying before us. His face drained of color. His jaw tightened, his hands fumbled in his lap. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. For once, Daniel, the man who always had a slick answer, an excuse ready, had no words. Elena, he finally stammered, his voice low. It's not what it looks like. I let out a bitter laugh, one that surprised even me. Not what it looks like. Daniel, I'm 8 months pregnant, carrying your child, and I just watched you kiss your secretary in our home. What part of that is not what it looks like? He leaned forward, his hands reaching for mine, but I pulled back. Please, listen to me, he begged. I made a mistake. I was stressed. Clara doesn't mean anything to me. You do. You and the baby, you're everything to me. I swear it. His words felt hollow, bouncing off the walls without sinking into me. I had heard them all before, in different forms. Promises, excuses, lies. Do you even hear yourself? I whispered, tears spilling down my cheeks. While I was sick in bed, while I was giving my body to bring our child into the world, you were out here betraying me. Do you know how cruel that is? He tried again, desperation filling his eyes. Elena, don't throw away everything we have because of one mistake. Please, I'll fix this. I'll do whatever it takes. But something inside me had shifted. His voice no longer had the power to calm me. His promises no longer had the power to bind me. I looked at him and realized that the man I thought I loved was gone, replaced by someone I no longer recognized. I stood up slowly, my hand instinctively going to my belly. Daniel, I said quietly, I don't need you. Not for me, not for her. We'll be fine without you. His eyes widened in panic. Elena, please don't do this. Think of the baby. She deserves a family. She deserves both of us. She deserves honesty. I snapped, my voice rising for the first time. She deserves a father who respects her mother. And since you can't be that man, she deserves peace. And I'll give it to her, even if it means doing it alone. The next few days were chaos. Lawyers, paperwork, endless conversations I never thought I'd have. Daniel begged, pleaded, even threatened at one point, but I was unshakable. Every time doubt crept in, I looked at my daughter's ultrasound picture and reminded myself why I was doing this. She would never grow up watching her mother cry over a man's betrayal. When the day finally came and I gave birth, I held her tiny body against mine, tears streaming down my face. She was perfect. Tiny fingers, soft cries, eyes that seemed to look straight into my soul. In that moment, every ounce of pain, every sleepless night, every heartbreak was worth it. I whispered into her ear, you'll never know what it feels like to be broken by someone else's weakness. I promise. Daniel tried to come back, of course. He brought flowers to the hospital, sent long texts about changing, even begged to attend counseling. But the decision had already been made. My love for him had ended the moment I pressed play on that video. It wasn't just the kiss, it was everything it represented. Disrespect, betrayal, weakness, and I knew I couldn't raise my daughter in the shadow of those things. The weeks that followed were hard. Sleepless nights with the baby, moments of doubt when loneliness crept in, bills piling up that I had to manage on my own. But with each challenge, I grew stronger. I wasn't just Elena, the betrayed wife anymore. I was Elena, the mother, the protector, the woman who survived and refused to stay broken. Sometimes, late at night, I'd think about Daniel. I'd wonder if he regretted what he'd done, if he thought about what he lost. But then I'd look at my daughter, sleeping peacefully in her crib, and I'd realize it didn't matter. His choices no longer defined me. My strength did. And that's the message I want anyone listening to remember. Betrayal can feel like the end of your story, like the floor has been ripped from under you. But it isn't the end. It's a beginning. A painful, fiery beginning. Yes, but one that can shape you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone unbreakable. Because sometimes the strongest revenge isn't anger, isn't shouting, isn't destroying the other person's life. Sometimes the strongest revenge is walking away with your head held high, building a new life, and proving that their betrayal couldn't stop you. So if you've ever been betrayed, remember this: you don't need their apology to heal. You don't need their love to be whole. All you need is the strength to choose yourself. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize the betrayal didn't break you. It built you.